Let's take a look at another aspect of this question of the intersection between people's rights and arbitrary government action. The internet itself has recently been wiretapped. Every major phone company in the United States, based on a national security letter, turned over a complete copy of all internet traffic on their backbones. The whole internet copied, wiretapped. Is that tantamount to identity theft? Is that tantamount to the
it's much worse
arrogation
than that.
of rights you're talking about?
It's much worse than identity theft. It's a part of the general assault on human rights that Bush carried out, but was not limited to him and not limited to the time when he was the unelected president.
How, going forward, can we create the correct institutions, the correct information architectures, the correct processes, so that people committing acts of violence can be investigated and prosecuted appropriately, and without probable cause, innocent people can continue to have their liberties respected, whereby somehow people's information can be held in trust and not given up?
I don't think it should be. I think it shouldn't be held. It shouldn't be there.
So you're advocating full anonymity in all
Yes.
circumstances?
Anything that you could conceivably buy with cash, you should be able to buy with digital cash. The best way to prevent misuse of information is not to collect it.
It sounds to me like you're suggesting people should take it upon themselves to protect their rights as much as they can.
Yes.
And one of the ways would be by, well, for lack of a better phrase, a zero identity footprint.
Yes, or close to it. You
Now,
know,
how can you actually do that? What would people do?
don't buy with a credit card. Don't carry a cell phone. Pay with cash. Surveillance on people's movements is carried out for Big Brother by airlines, by Amtrak. I will not take Amtrak anymore.
Now, how do you travel then?
Well, I do take airplanes, and then they identify me. But whenever it's a short enough distance that it's feasible to do something else, then I take a bus that won't check my ID. Mm-hmm. But the point is, we have to push back, and we have to reject the excuse that they give, that they're protecting us from these extremely rare hypothetical terrorists. Because we have to say straight out, the government's more dangerous. You can
let's get a little deeper into why the average person needs to protect themselves. What is it they're protecting themselves from?
If you don't want to be a terrorist, you can easily not be a terrorist. But there's nothing you can do to make sure you're not going to be a suspected terrorist. And anything at all can happen to you because you're suspected. So there are many reasons why you should be concerned about surveillance and why you should insist on doing things the anonymous way. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of systems that could be set up to do surveillance or not. Consider, for instance, the cameras set up at toll booths. Are they going to record everybody who goes through, or are they only going to record those who don't pay the toll?
And will they record the license plate or the face?
Well, either one's too much. Tracking people's cars is almost equivalent to tracking the people. It's effectively the same. So I wouldn't be very impressed by an excuse that said, well, no, we're not tracking you, we're only tracking your cell phone, or we're not tracking you, we're only tracking your car license plate.
So what do you do with car license plates in the future that protects liberties and also assures safe and enforceable traffic laws?
I don't like the cameras that automatically enforce traffic laws. Those should be just abolished. Now, police, yes, can look at a license plate. Anybody can look at a license plate. Anybody might notice me walking down the street, and they might conceivably recognize me. Well, people have a right to do that. That's dispersed information. And then, suppose there was some reason to suspect I had committed a crime, people could go around spending the trouble to ask lots of people where they saw me, etc.
So certainly the transaction cost in the past has been one of the bulwarks of freedom.
Exactly.
It's been expensive. Now with the new information age and the cross-tabulation of data from Twitter to cell phone to car license plate to credit card transactions, personal identity boundaries, professional identity boundaries, political identity boundaries, all blurring together to create a virtual dossier, a digital profile of people. showing up on the cameras that are outside of banks, ATM machines, mobile
Right, yes.
stations, face recognition, Google.
Right. Security cameras, we have to regulate them so that they can't be shown to anyone without a warrant. And the images must be destroyed within a certain time. Then they can do a job to discourage crime without contributing to this dossier, although the word dossier is an understatement because the tyrants of the past were never able to compile such a thorough dossier as this. And face recognition systematically used in public places, I think that should be illegal too.
So scanning the crowds of people in sports events and on the streets to see spot the terrorist, not allowed.
They're going to spot a lot more than just terrorists. If we make things as easy for the police as they would like it to be, then they become more dangerous than the people they're protecting us from. We need police and we need a criminal justice system because there are lots of individuals that might do us harm or violence, but that mechanism itself is dangerous too. Just about the first political note I put on Stallman.org was about a practice called, quote, running a plate for a date. When a policeman sees an attractive woman drive by, so he notes down her license plate, looks up her address, and goes and visits her. This is apparently fairly common.
I think one of the things this points out is the porousness of the information and the lack of enforceable safeguards and protections to assure that it's used only for the lawful purpose.
Right, because nowadays with the surveillance of our phone calls and the internet, there are some people who can just listen to whatever they like.
What it really means if you're going around using a credit card, you're using your mobile phone, you're already in a net, you've agreed in effect to be in a matrix, you're saying?
If you use a cell phone, carry a cell phone, and pay with credit cards, then basically you're telling Big Brother everything about you.